Now with the latest, ZNN7 reporter Basitsana Pora. Good morning to you, Basitsana. Thank you for joining us once again. Can you perhaps just paint the picture with regards to what is happening in the Knysna area at this point?
Good morning to you, Liesl, and to the viewers at home. It was a very hectic night last night, as we have learned yesterday in the early afternoon and morning that fires were breaking out in the outskirts of Knysna and neighboring areas such as Buffalo Bay. The people there were evacuated to a safe place, and they had to be evacuated again to another safe place. We were with that community, and there were two fires that were blocking every entrance, and we were left to the beach. And one of the evacuation strategies that authorities had is if the fire comes too close to us, then we would have to go to the beach and try to find refuge there. Firefighters have also been hard at work in trying to contain areas that could spark and outbreak with other fires. We are actually situated at the Hoërskool Sports Center, where the South African National Defence Force has had a base here, as well as the Working on Fire team also has this as their base. I'd just like my colleague Patrick to show you to my left firefighters that are standing by and getting ready. They're having some breakfast, they're having some coffee, and getting ready to go onto the field and try to spot any other fires that could erupt. Luckily enough, some drizzle, we had some drizzle in Knysna last night, which could help in trying to get the fires out. And also the authorities said that the night is the best time for them to work because they can spot areas that are risky and areas that need to be worked on and put out. But one person who is to tell us an in-depth update is Mr. Reinberg. Good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us. Can you please have an update on what work has been done last night?
Well, I think the important objective yesterday and yesterday evening was to look at any potential flare-ups. You must understand that yesterday was a very difficult day. We had terrible weather conditions, multiple flare-ups at several hotspots across Knysna. We've also had, obviously, the ongoing fire out in Plettenberg Bay, which is a major concern. So our main objective for today is obviously to concentrate on those hotspot areas to make sure that there are no further flare-ups. And hopefully with the favorable weather conditions today, our firefighters will be able largely to see if they can control this particular fire. The place right where we are now is obviously, as you've mentioned, our base camp. The Working on Fire program is the National Department of Environmental Affairs program to help fight veld and forest fires. We've assembled about 450 firefighters on this particular fire since Wednesday, and also the South African National Defence Force has brought in 3 helicopters. They've also brought in army medics and personnel to help in this particular operation. This has certainly been one of the biggest local firefighting operations. The extent and scope of the fire is massive. The municipality confirms that we have over 400 structures that have been confirmed, that have been either destroyed or damaged. 5 confirmed deaths at this stage. We lost about 10,000 hectares. That is the count yesterday morning. In this particular fire alone. And what made this fire, I think, a little bit unique is that it was not concentrated in one particular area. The coastal area was severely affected. Properties in the suburb of Knysna, but also in our local townships. So it had a multiple impact on the community of Knysna. But I think the response we've had from the community, I've seen yesterday and also the day before, is people remaining positive and being grateful, I think, for the help and support of the Working on Fire program and other firefighting authorities. We have the City of Cape Town here, Cape Winelands District Municipality, George Municipality, a number of local fire services have all been terrific in bringing some form of relief to the people of Knysna. And certainly, I think from our side, from Working on Fire side, we will be also doing an assessment this morning. There are some concern around fires in the Eastern Cape, Wittelbos. the Van Stadens area, and that's what we'll also be looking at this morning around what type of resources and assistance we can bring in there. I must also add, though, that we've had our aerial firefighting support also in support the Defence Force having their 3 helicopters. We had 4 helicopters here, 2 fixed-wing spotter planes, as well as an air tractor bomber that provided aerial firefighting support.
We have learned about the passing of a firefighter. How are your men keeping their spirits up, and how are they able to, keep on working and trying to put this fire out?
Well, the Working on Fire program in particular, we have a very proud record about our safety standards and what we try and do in terms of our training and also our morning briefings, our ongoing engagement, what our teams is about, putting safety on the fire line first. So I think the firefighters obviously understand the inherent danger about going into an uncontrolled wildfire. But I think from our perspective, because of that safety that they have consciously on their mind, I think it's important for them. They are able to cope, I think. It's not good to know that a fellow firefighter has lost his or her life, but I think the important thing is to keep focusing on our safety.
Despite losing a colleague, the firefighters working on the Knysna fire are still fueled up with a whole lot of hope that this fire will be contained. Liesl, other criminal elements have been taking place as we've learned as the days have gone by. One person is confirmed to be arrested for looting a truck that had relief aid that was going to one of the centers. So the police and law enforcement are also working hard to make sure that they curb and put a stop to these criminal elements.
Basetsana, I can see that it is very cold just by the way you are dressed at this point. Just looking around, you mentioned it was a long, long night last night. The civil servants, firefighters, military that have been deployed. I mean, you mentioned that their spirits are high, but fatigue at the end of the day has to also have set in. Can you just walk us through that situation right now in terms of how equipped they are to continue battling the blaze that isn't ending at this point?
At this point, Liesl, what is making the blaze what is making it difficult for the blaze to be contained, or for them to be able to put out any flames that could stir up, is the wind, which is really starting to pick up. As the day goes by, the wind picks up at a rapid speed, which is also, a risk and a hindrance, as well as a fuel to the fires that erupt. It's very sad to see people having lost all of their belongings and only having what they have on their backs is the only thing that is left to them. Hundreds of people have been displaced. Hundreds of people have lost housing. Some because some have managed to save their houses because Mother Nature was on their side. Even though there were winds, especially in the Buffalo City where we were, stuck yesterday, the fire died out on itself because the wind direction pushed it onto the Fynbos and away from the houses that the people had. But officials are keeping eye on every area, because every area at this point could be a disaster zone, because you never know. They put out this fire here, another one starts over there.